All right, we will call this meeting to order. We will start with the consent agenda. All the following items which concern reports and items of routine nature normally approved at AHA meetings will be approved by one vote unless any trustee desires to have a separate vote on any or all of these items. The consent agenda consists of the discussion, consideration, and action on the following items. Minutes of a regular trustee meeting February 28, 2023. Minutes of the regular finance meeting March 21, 2023. And a check report February 9, 2023 through March 8, 2023.
I make a motion we approve the consent agenda as listed, items A through C.
Second.
I have a motion by Dr. Brown, a second by Dr. Simon to approve the consent agenda as it was presented. Roll call vote, please.
Gassler?
Yes.
Hannaford?
Yes.
Burke?
Yes.
Simon? Yes. Brown?
Yes.
Bowman?
Yes.
Next will be the CEO's report. Candace?
All right. In your snapshot that I sent out to you, I don't know, about a week ago or so, I do have some updates to a few of those items. The InReach project with our surgical services. As you know, Dr. Daniel will be starting April 13th and 14th. We have reached an agreement with Dr. Tupper, the orthopedic surgeon, so we're super excited about that, to be able to offer services, orthopedic services in Alva coming soon. So I anticipate that that startup will take probably at least 90 to 120 days to get everything into place. Credentialing typically takes at least 90 days. That's what it was taken with Dr. Daniel. And then obviously we have to get some equipment in place. So looking forward to that. Amy Furr, the surgery manager, did spend some time in Nebraska a couple of weeks ago to do some training and was very impressed with their operation up there and brought back a lot of good information to get started. So we are looking forward to that. I do want to note that when I wrote my report in late February for, or late January for February, when Troy had passed away, we were kind of really didn't know what was going to take place with Dr. Hummel and how that was going to shake out. But Liz has done a great job of being able to find physicians to come into that practice down there. So I just want you to know we are still receiving referrals from that clinic, and you know, hopefully that they can get somebody in there permanently before long. But we still receive referrals from that clinic, and we appreciate that. Troy was instrumental in bringing Chris's dad here initially to start the cataract program here, and then his son Chris, which comes now, has continued to do that for us. So just want to let you know that. Cheyenne Ferris, you saw that she got matched and will be going to Sedalia, Missouri. I did find out from Courtney that she got matched to the OD Family Medicine program in Tulsa, so she's excited to get to stay in Tulsa. Other than that, on changes, a few notes in the rest of the report. We do have a swing bed coordinator hired, Nicole McDowell. Nicole is an RN that comes to us from Buffalo. She was the administrator, is that right? The DON. The DON at, you're right, the DON at Buffalo. And she started with us about 3 weeks ago. So we're excited to get that program built back up. That program took a hit during COVID, a significant hit, and we are looking to breathe some life back into that program and get those patients back to the area to get their rehab done here at the hospital. DNV survey prep. We've all been in prep mode, thinking that survey was going to happen by last week, and it didn't happen last week, so we thought certainly this week, and we all watch our clocks thinking, okay, they'll be here probably about 9 o'clock, and we found out this morning that that drop dead date is irrelevant, apparently. That there's a hospital that's been waiting 8 months on them. So I guess we'll see them when we see them. Their last survey with us was a year ago, April the 4th. And so, who knows? They may be here, they may not. So we're gonna focus on, we've got everything as, I think, as ready as we can for survey. And so we are focusing on the Meditech project at this point. Other than that, we are, let's see, we had Leadership Oklahoma, Northwest Oklahoma was here last week. Got to visit with them for a couple hours and was, had good conversation. I don't have anything else. Did you guys see anything in my report that you had questions about? If not, that's all I have.
Okay. Any other questions for Candace? If not, I would entertain a motion.
Make a motion, do we approve to accept the Sure Medical Center written report, March 28th?
Second.
I have a motion by Dr. Brown, a second by Dr. Hannaford to approve the Shared Medical Center written report for March 28, 2023. Roll call vote, please.
Hannaford,
Yes.
Burke,
Yes.
Simon. Yes. Brown,
Yes.
Tillman,
Yes.
Gasper.
Yes. Candace, thank you. Next item is the CFO's report.
All right, well, let's talk about financial statements. We did see an increase in our accounts payable over the month of February. I'm going to say which potentially is to be expected, but we at the time were expecting we would get our cost report settlement to kind of offset that accounts payable and help pay that down. At the time I was going through everything, we had not received it, but we have received it now. At least a portion of it. There was one piece that we had a little bit of a dispute on as far as our RHC portion of the cost settlement, and we did go back to CMS, and we are expecting to get an additional $110,000 on that. So we got $662,000, and we anticipate receiving that additional $110,000 anytime now. Which will help us get our AP paid down. Our cash balance is low, and we're expecting that, but now should be able to get a portion of those bills paid back down. We do have a lot of implementation costs that are associated with, moving to Meditech. It seems like every interface is approximately $10,000 to $15,000. We have had several interfaces that go into implementing this new EHR. Right now, we are also paying for our Meditech as a service, so we're paying that fee along with our fee to have our old Meditech running at the same time and to have eClinicals running at the same time. So we have some dual expenses, which is also causing our accounts payable to go up a little bit. We have been working to keep our expenses down. Our AP did increase this month, causing our cash balance to be down this month, but we did pay off about $400,000 of our AP once we did get our settlement in, and we'll continue to work on that and monitor expenses as we go. I know Candace talked last month a lot about Jaden Lewis coming in the central supply department, and we've seen a huge impact there, getting older supplies that maybe we weren't utilizing, driving them towards places that can be used and trying to use up the stock that we have as opposed to ordering new in. So we've seen a lot of good going forward, and I think that we'll continue to see those costs come down. She's working diligently with our GPO to make sure that we're getting contract pricing when she does do purchasing, and she's worked a lot to get our shipping costs down and using the best channels there. So we're hoping to see some progress there. Our hospital AR decreased by about $228,000. Getting our unbilled AR to 9.6 gross days. If you remember, at the end of the calendar year last year, we had a backlog in our unbilled. We did work and got that down, and so we're seeing that AR decrease also by getting some additional cash in. Getting those claims adjudicated and moving them through the process. Our gross patient revenue for the month of February closed out at $1.6 million, and which was a decrease over the month of January of about $260,000. Year to date, we're sitting at about $11.8 million in gross patient revenue, which is about $100,000 less than where we were at this time last year. So lower, not a huge difference there. The biggest piece is that our operating expenses are up year to date. We closed out the month of February at $1 million in operating expenses, which is down from January, but is up in comparison year to date over last year. That would be the bulk of what I have to talk about for the financial statements. Do you guys have questions on the financial statements? Is there anything that I can go into further detail on? Lots of blank stares and quiet, so I think that'll be in there. We did talk a little bit about Meditech. We are 96 days to go live, which when I looked at that this morning, it kind of scared me a little bit. We're down into the double digits, but we are making progress. We're about 85% complete in all the data gathering that is needed with Meditech from our old system, and we are about 50% complete in our build. So about halfway. We will do integrated testing. We'll start next month in the middle of April, which is more testing the pieces and how they flow internally. That's more Meditech will handle that more and do a lot of that internally on their side to make sure data is flowing. And then in May we'll do our mock live, which is where we actually walk through our processes and make sure things are built appropriately and make sure things are flowing appropriately on our end. So we still have a lot of work cut out for us. I know we are. Candace is looking a little dazed. It's been a long couple of weeks. We've spent a lot of hours working on a lot of different pieces. There's a lot of moving parts. It's going, and I feel like it's going okay as long as we can survive the next 96 days. So we are. Yes. Any questions on the Meditech implementation? All right, any other questions that I can address finance related?
Any questions for Angelica? If not, Angelica, thank you. At this time, I'm going to move to Kelly to give us the convalescent home. He has another engagement that he needs to attend. So Kelly, I will turn it over to you.
Okay. You guys can see the finances. I'll just quickly state that we did have $185,000 in gross revenue. Our total operating revenue after everything was $169,546. That's quite a bit less than it was last year. In February, year to date, we're down about $700,000 in revenue. Expenses were also down about $50,000. So total operating expenses were $235,000, and that's about a $300,000, a little over $300,000 decrease year to date at 2.16 million. So our net loss was 65,000. You guys have the written report. You can kind of see some of the volumes or reflect, how the finances reflect. With that, satisfaction is really high. We measured 12 areas of satisfaction for employees and residents, and we're 5 percentage points from having above benchmark scores in every one of those areas, so I feel like we're doing really good on satisfaction. Any questions regarding the nursing home? The homestead had a pretty well break-even month. We had $48,000 in revenue and $45,000 in expenses, so made about $3,000 in net income for the homestead year to date. The homestead has a $19,000 net income, which is down from where it was in 2022 by about $40,000. One thing I'll mention to everybody is we do have a new director at the homestead, Tanya Escobel, who has been the accounting supervisor, if you will, for the nursing home and the homestead. Is now the manager at the homestead. She's been there for about a week and a half. She's doing a great job, and so I've been spending quite a bit of time over there just to get her, kind of acclimated and into the routine over there. She's been managing the billing and accounts receivable for the homestead while she's been working for the nursing home, so that part's not new to her. She's going to continue to do that. But managing the staff and resident relations is it comes natural to her, so she's really doing a great job. I forgot to mention under the nursing home report, we did get approval today at like 2:30 or 3 o'clock from the state of Oklahoma on our HVAC plans. We'll probably be having further conversations about what steps we want to take to move forward now that we have approved plans. So, any questions on that or the homestead?
No? All right. Thank you, Kelly.
I don't have a foundation.
Very good. All right. So now we'll flip back and we'll go back to the med staff committee. Dr. Burke?
Yeah, so we met on March the 9th and really did no official business to speak of. We had CEO report and CFO report, and that pretty much took up the 60 minutes. So I have nothing to bring to the board today.
All right. Well, thank you. Not thank you for not bringing anything. Just
Thank you for both.
Yes. Quappy? Anything for Quappy?
Sure.
Okay.
Everybody relax. I didn't highlight anything. Let me flip through this real quickly and see if there's anything that... You guys don't have this in your packets, correct?
Right.
So I will add, and maybe I've went over this before, but in radiology, we have added some ultrasound days, and that has been beneficial, I think, for the practitioners to be able to get their patients scheduled quicker here with more ultrasound days. Have you noticed a difference in that, Dr. Berg?
No.
Good, okay. Anytime you feel like we're running short on being if it looks like we're having to put patients further out, bring that to my attention and we will try to add more days. I anticipate bringing ortho on that we will be needing to do that with MRI as well. Doesn't look like anything outstanding in Quappy to note. I will tell you that next month I will do a better job at reviewing this before, and I will highlight those things in case there's anything specifically that we need to discuss. I'm proud of the staff. I mean, literally I've probably got about 8 pages or so here, and
6 pages of copy stuff. They really are coming along on learning what kinds of projects to focus on in their departments to make improvements in patient care areas. So with that, we can move on.
All right, thank you. Next is the improvement to patient care, and under the patient care tab, you will see there's the contract reviews, and then also the revisions report. Everything seems to be 100%, and we are in compliance there, so I would entertain a motion for that unless somebody has any discussion or questions.
This is on the revisions report.
Yep.
Make a motion to approve the revisions report dated February 28, 2023.
Second.
Have a motion by Dr. Hannaford, a second by Dr. Simon, to approve the revisions report dated February 28, 2023. Roll call vote, please.
Burt?
Yes.
Simon? Yes. Brown?
Yes.
Bowman?
Yes.
Gasper?
Yes.
Hannaford?
Yes.
Okay, there are no new contracts, so we will move now on. There's no St. Anthony's report. We will move on to the city council report. Greg?
Okay, other than the routine stuff, I think our audit, I brought the audit if anybody cares to see the audit. Came out very well. The city financially is in, I think, a pretty good place. We've got things to work on yet, but like what the audit said, everything is coming together and we're in pretty good shape. We discussed the Main Street program. It's in the starts. It's a program designed to enhance economic development in towns and cities by assisting in revitalization of Main Street areas. That is in the talks. We approved purchasing the fire truck, and that's really anything that has to do with this group.
Anybody have any questions for Greg? If not, Greg, thank you. Our next item is Chairman's report. I have nothing to report. There are no items of new business, so we'll remind everybody our next meeting is scheduled for April 18th, which is, because the first falls on a Monday, it makes everything fast forward a week. I see some frowns. Do we need to do something different?
Should it be the
I had
20th?
the 25th.
Yeah.
I'm just looking at our,
Thought we moved it there already.
okay?
Oh, maybe we did move it.
To the 25th? Yeah, I won't be here the 25th.
That's,
But the 18th would work for me, if we do it then.
Jason, I think you're looking at the finance committee.
you are right. It does say finance at the top. Forgive me.
But I was going to bring that up, so
Okay.
up to you. Either way, I can leave my report, or we can try to shoot for a date that works. But I won't be here on the 25th.
I guess the first question would be for finance is, how hard is that if we moved everything up a week?
I'll be going on the 11th.
When?
Right, no, I was meaning
If we do AHA and finance.
finance all on the same day.
Everything on the same day.
Well, we should have the financial statements done for finance.
Yeah,
Okay.
it shouldn't matter. I mean, that just puts you guys here
Twice.
all day
Yeah. That's,
from noon till.
does everybody have the 18th available?
If
we move the AHA to the 18th. Does that work for you, Greg?
Yes, any day works good for me. I'm easy.
Council, you good?
That works for me.
Doc? Dr. Simon?
Sure.
Dr. Brown? Yes? You were good?
I think so. I'm checking and confirm. But yeah, I think I am.
Okay, so if that's the case, we'll do the 18th. Is that what I'm hearing?
Can I get an email reminder tomorrow on that?
Yes.
Please and thank
And
you.
then
Yes, thank you.
the day of too.
Yeah. Okay. Well, other than that,
I got a question.
Oh.
Can I ask a question?
maybe.
I don't know if this is new business, but I feel like this hospital and what it does needs to have something out there that says what it does. You know what I mean? I mean, some sort of, let's brag on Share Medical Center a little bit.
More advertising or just more?
You know, the services offered. This is,
Where would you
we
put
have
it?
this doctor, you know, and I may be wrong, but it really bothers me when I hear people make statements they wouldn't come here. Or I hear people say, well, they don't do any of this, and
So, from time to time, we do put ads in the paper, in the newspaper, especially when we have like a new provider coming to town. We try to hit that for a good, 3, 4, 6 months with a new provider. We hit Facebook, we hit the billboards, we have constant ads running on the billboard downtown. Where else do we need to hit it?
I don't know.
I don't know where
It
else.
just frustrates me when
Are you saying like if it had like a list of services more than just a?
advertisement. This is what we can, I don't know. I really don't know.
So we did a deal, and it's been quite a few years, but something like this came up. And I actually still have a magnet on the side of one of my file cabinets at the office that says that we do that. I'll take a picture of it.
Okay.
Send it.
You know, it's kind of like my heart doctor, Garner.
Mhm.
Wanted me to go to the city for blood tests. I said, I'm not going to the city for blood tests. We can do that in Alva.
Yeah.
I'm not driving, you know what I mean? I don't know if
That's where the
if
patient
people
has
don't
to be
understand, they
proactive.
can tell their doctor,
Right.
no, we can do that here.
Yeah.
You know, if it's in their head for some of these things, no, just because your doctor says that, you can still.
And it seems to, and I agree with you, I mean, I'm not disagreeing that you have to constantly keep your services out there and the things that you do, because typically people aren't looking for it, they're not concerned about it until a specific thing happens to them, and then they're looking for it. It's kind of like when you buy a certain car or color of car, then all of a sudden you see, that's all you see is that car. It becomes obvious to you. So all we can do is, Maddie does a
I
great job.
apologize for taking time at the
No,
board, but.
No, it takes all of us to make this thing work, and, we gotta get nose blind to, we know what we do, and,
You do, but
Yeah.
does everybody else
right.
know what this hospital does?
It's one of those things for the most part, Greg. A lot of it's out of sight, out of mind until you need it.
Absolutely.
And that's when people remember or think of it that, oh, well, I need that.
Well, and I guess that's where I'm coming from, because my experience here has always been very good. I mean,
But you come here, and that's the difference. You come here and you've had services.
yeah.
I think some of maybe what you're talking about is from people that don't actually darken the doors.
Well, I'm glad we have doors I can darken.
And part of the problem is that Alva doesn't really have good ways of putting out information. And the newspaper is read by few people. So putting anything there is not worth probably very much.
Maddie tries to post something daily on her Facebook page. I mean, that's her goal, is to post at least something daily, but if you're not, you know, a Facebook
I mean, you hear about the bad, but there's a whole lot
Oh,
of good
sure.
that goes on here.
Well,
And
I'll give you an example. I don't have it here word for word, but just last week, there was a gal that I went to school with. They don't live here anymore. They live up in Lawrence, Kansas. But her folks live here, and her husband's folks live here. And her mother had to come here for services, and she sent a fairly long email thanking us for taking care of her mother, and she does not know what she would have done had her mother not been able to come here to be taken care of. So there are people that do acknowledge it, it's just not loud.
I'll add to that. Taylor Valentine was one of the women in the Northwest Leadership Group the other day, and somebody had sent this to me, and actually Taylor brought it up. Her little girl had broken her arm, and she brought her to the emergency room, and Sean took care of her, and she said that they had to obviously be seen by the orthopedic surgeon the next day, and she was seen at OU Children's in Oklahoma City, and she said, praise the Lord, no surgery. She fractured her humerus by hyperextending her arm. They said typically she would have needed surgery, but the ER practitioner in Alva did such a good job, she just had to have a cast for 4 weeks.
there you go. That stuff needs to be known.
That's the kind of stuff that we need to put
And
out there.
We can't advertise, you know, that luckily, I mean, Taylor brought that up to me, and, you know,
Right.
I can share that, and she did put something else out on Facebook, but I wish I could tell of the crazy things, the crazy good things that we do in the emergency room, the high level of care that we give, but I can't repeat those things, it's confidential. I mean, you would be amazed at the things that our staff takes care of on a day-to-day basis. I can't go out and preach that.
One of the
It has
things
to,
that each of us can do is if you're a Facebook user and you see something coming from share it.
share that.
Let it spread some. Not just you reading it, but all your friends all read it.
I apologize for that comment.
No, it's a general question. I do want to, before we leave, I do want to recognize Dr. Burke and also Steve Madrid for being nominated for the Healthcare Professional of the Year in our So thank you guys for all that you do, and congratulations on being recognized by the public for outstanding work. So thank you. Without that, we are adjourned.